Every single April Fool's Day, my boyfriend would team up with his girl, bro, for her big prank, a fake proposal to me. Last year, I'd slipped on the ring, heart racing, when the gimmick clamped tight. I screamed in pain, but Jake and Luna just doubled over laughing, completely indifferent to my fingers, which were moments away from being crushed beyond repair. To apologize, Jake swore he'd propose for real this year. So when he texted me frantically to rush to the spot of our first date, I didn't hesitate. I got a perm, did my nails, spent hours on a full face of makeup, and slipped into a new dress. I even drafted an engagement announcement for social media. But as I pushed open the door, grinning, a thick slab of cream smacked me right in the face. The private lounge erupted with Luna's loud, playful laugh. "Told you she'd come, Jake. You owe me." Jake wiped cream off my cheeks, his tone as soft as ever. "You look stunning, such a waste of a nice outfit. The guys and I bet if I could get you here." I said you wouldn't show. Win means proposal tomorrow, lose means next year. Sorry, but since you came, no wedding this year. I stared at him quietly. So you remember what tomorrow is? He chuckled dismissively. Of course, our 6th anniversary. How could I forget? With sticky cream smearing my face, I suddenly felt hollow. Our anniversary mattered less than April Fool's Day. Just like I mattered less than his girl best friend. I slid off the plain matching ring we'd worn for 6 years. Let's break up. Smiled. Then walked straight to the VIP booth behind them, Jake's biggest rival, the man he'd been losing. Sleep over. Sat on his lap. Took his drink. I know everything about Jake Reed's business. I'll hand it to you for free, just want front row seats. Jake's face went white. I raised my glass at him and Luna. Happy April Fools. You taught me the punchline always comes last. So yeah, I dumped him, tanked his company, and now I'm dating his enemy. Karma's a bitch. This one finally bites back. The sharp clink of the ring hitting the floor silenced the room. Jake frowned. Stop being dramatic. It's just cream, I'll wash it off later. You know Luna used to pull way worse stunts. She's held back for you. Took so much to get you here, don't make me look like a buzzkill in front of the guys. Luna pouted, lower lip trembling. Mia, it's just a joke. If you hate it, we'll stop. Why talk about breaking up? I told you she can't take a joke, Jake. Now look what you did. She plopped down on the couch, huffing. The eyes on me turned cold. She was the only girl in their friend group, their golden child. When she pouted, everyone rushed to soothe her. Jake was no exception. Our first meeting, Luna hosted Truth or Dare. Others did silly dares, but mine? Moan on the spot. I'd only said the penalty was over the line, and Luna teared up and ran out. Everyone chased her, Jake included. My welcome dinner ended with me sitting alone. Jake never mentioned it, but after that, he never brought me to gatherings unless Luna approved. Now he glared at me. Mia, apologize to Luna. In the past, to fit in, to save him from losing face in front of his buddies, I would have swallowed my pride and bitten my tongue. I might have even jumped in with an apology before he had to ask. But now? My breakup mattered less than Luna's bad mood. I finally saw the truth, our relationship had never measured up to his bond with his girl best friend. I grabbed my coat and bag, the one I'd bought specially to meet his parents, and met their judgmental stares. Jake, it's over. For real. I stumbled slightly in my heels as I left. As the door swung shut behind me, Luna's teasing voice, muffled but clear, slithered out. Not gonna chase after your little lovesick puppy? Jake's scoff was cold and dismissive. She's just having a tantrum. If I run after her now, what message does that send? Don't worry. She's got no one else. She'll come crawling back, way less trouble than you. My heart felt like it was torn open, his words slicing through the wound like cold wind. 6 years ago, right on this spot, Jake had poured his heart out, vowing I was the only one for him, now and forever. Winning me over hadn't been easy for him. At 15, my parents remarried, starting new families. I became the unwanted burden no one wanted to mention. I resisted relationships, avoided starting a family, turned him down 5 times. The last time, I'd been followed by a burglar while living alone. He'd shown up just in time, taking down the attacker, but got hurt in the process, ending up in the hospital. After the nurse bandaged him, his eyes glistened. "Mia, why are you so stubborn? Can't you let me protect you?" In that moment, my resolve crumbled. I thought maybe dating someone reliable, someone gentle, wouldn't be so bad. That night, he'd asked me here to confess. When I said yes, the usually poised gentleman lifted me up and spun me around like a fool. We'd collapsed onto the floor, dizzy, his strong arms holding me tight. We sat on the steps outside, staring at the moon. He swore with him, I'd never be lonely again. I'd never be abandoned. But now, the old wounds I'd cautiously let him see, the ones that had just begun to scar over, felt ripped wide open, and he was the one holding the knife. A hollow, self-mocking laugh escaped me, pulling up the expiring transfer offer in my email sent 5 days earlier. Typing 3 words wasn't as hard as I'd feared. Mia accepts headquarters transfer. I glanced at the moon, veiled by thin clouds. Jake, I'd never been easy to calm down. And now, I didn't need you to try. My train ticket was booked for the afternoon of the 2ND, I had little time left. Back at our apartment, I washed off the cream grime and packed my bags. There weren't many traces of me in the apartment to begin with. Packing my life away was a swift, almost surgical process. In the end, it all fit into 2 suitcases. One large, one small. At 3 a.m., I'd booked a hotel and was heading out when I crashed into Jake, just home from his night out. He maneuvered a completely unconscious Luna onto the couch, then thrust a bag of pears toward me without so much as a glance. "You're up. Good. She's plastered. Make her some sober-up soup, or she'll be impossible all night." I stood frozen. When we first moved in, he'd come home drunk, vomiting nonstop. I'd felt terrible, getting up at midnight to make him soup. But the cheap clay pot had cracked over the stove, boiling soup splattering all over me. He'd sobered up instantly, staring at my burns with guilt. After that, he'd banned me from the kitchen even when he was sick and craved porridge. He'd order takeout instead of letting me cook. For years, I'd never stepped foot in that kitchen. He'd even hung a handwritten sign, "Kitchen off limits to Mia." A short, humorless laugh escaped me. I plucked the sign from its hook and dropped it into the trash bin with a soft thud. "Not my job," I said, my voice flat. "If she wants soup, order it." But his hand shot out, fingers closing like a vice around my wrist. He yanked me back and shoved me against the door, his body caging me in. "All right, Mia, that's enough," he said, his patience clearly wearing thin. "Talk is one thing, but packing? Come on." It was a joke. A stupid April Fool's prank. Stop making a scene. I know you're eager to get married, and I am too. Next year, I promise we'll tie the knot. Okay? His alcohol-tinged breath fanned my neck. But this time, his words didn't soothe me. I pushed him away, slapping him across the face. "Jake, I meant what I said. We're over. I'm never marrying you." That slap sobered him up and even roused Luna from her drunken stupor on the couch. She staggered toward me, reeking of alcohol, and swung a clumsy but forceful slap at my face. "Who the hell do you think you are? Nobody hits Jake. So you want to break up?" Big deal. There are plenty of better girls out there, you're not that special. A burning pain flared across my cheek. Tears of pain and fury sprang to my eyes. I raised my own hand to strike back, but Jake's hand shot out, his grip like an iron manacle around my wrist. He shoved me back hard. The small of my back slammed into the doorknob with a sickening thud, and a sharp, radiating pain exploded through my torso. He moved to shield Luna, his expression a mask of annoyance. "She's wasted," he said, his voice tight with impatience. "Don't stoop to her level. Just go take a walk and cool down. We can talk about this when you've calmed down tomorrow." I stared at him in disbelief, his indifference cutting like a knife, as if I were just an insignificant stranger. He didn't glance at me again, instead leaning down to soothe Luna's drunken tantrum, pouring all his tenderness on her. I dug my nails into my palm, grabbing. I booked a nearby hotel, finally drifting off at dawn. When I woke, my phone blew up with messages, pranks in the friend group, and concerned texts from colleagues asking why I'd skipped work, teasing if I had good news. A dull ache twisted in my chest. I quickly replied that we'd broken up, exhaustion weighing heavy on me. The notifications kept pinging, some thought I was joking for April Fools, others insisted it was impossible, urging me not to throw a fit just because the proposal hadn't happened. After all, to everyone else, Jake was gentle, steady, always reliable, a rare catch. But they didn't know the truth. On our 4th anniversary, he'd faked a proposal setup to lower my guard, letting Luna scare me with a real snake. On our 5th, he'd used a prank ring she'd bought to propose, leaving me spending the day at the fire department and hospital, my finger nearly permanently damaged. He was reliable, yes, but never for me. I'd always blinded myself to these red flags, convincing myself he was good to me, aside from Luna. But now, sobered up, I realized even a proposal couldn't fix this broken relationship. I laughed bitterly, opening Instagram out of habit. Beyond the flood of prank posts, Luna's 9 grid photos stood out, Jake taking her to the movies, winning her stuffed animals at arcade claw machines, playing video games. Even before, he'd always spent April Fools with her first, then our anniversary, but he'd never taken me to do any of these things. He'd always said such stuff was for childish couples, a waste of time. Better to do crafts or watch a movie. At home, something meaningful, he'd say. I thought it was a sign of maturity, pushing aside all my silly, first love fantasies. But looking at his bright, carefree smile in the photos, I finally understood. It wasn't the activities that were boring, it was being with me that bored him. The comments were flooded with couple goals, all their mutual friends liking the post, more likes than our relationship announcement had gotten. I was about to turn off my phone when a text popped up from Jake, "Don't misunderstand. I'm just taking her out to cheer her up. Come back when you're free, she wants to apologize." I frowned, my thumb hovering over a no thanks reply. Then, a package delivery notification popped up. It was the anniversary gift I'd ordered for him, sent, of course, to our old address. I stared at the screen. A clean break. That's what we needed. And I still had the keys to return. Might as well get it over with. A proper goodbye, for closure. I threw on some clothes and rushed over. The moment I stepped inside, a bucket of foul-smelling liquid was appended over my head, drenching me from head to toe. A sharp, burning sensation immediately flared across my face and neck. Surprise! Happy April Fool's Day! Before I could open my eyes, Luna lunged at me. She was scrubbing at my face with a rough makeup wipe, scraping and tugging at my skin. The burning sensation intensified into 1,000 pinpricks of fiery itch, a feeling so raw it was as if my face was being flayed alive. I shoved her away violently, reaching up to scratch instinctively, only to recoil at the searing pain. Cough. My face hurt so bad. What was that? Jake rushed over, his fingers closing like a vice around my wrist. His voice was a low, furious growl. You told me it was just makeup remover. Look at her face, what the hell is this? Luna's face flushed scarlet. I don't know. I just grabbed the first bottle I saw, she blurted, defensiveness shifting to accusation. And she's always wearing that fake, innocent makeup, trying to one-up me. I hate it. You said it looked tacky too. That's why you went along with this. I trembled all over, my limbs going numb as I struggled to breathe. So that's why you let her apologize. Jake. You don't deserve to end things amicably at all. I staggered toward the bathroom to wash my face, but my vision blurred suddenly. Mia, don't scare me. When I woke again, it was evening. The burning on my cheek still throbbed. Through my haze of unconsciousness, I'd heard the doctor say my chin and right cheek were cut and required stitches. My movement jolted Jake awake, he'd been sitting by my bed. Mia, you're finally awake. I was terrified. The doctor said you had anaphylactic shock from contact with allergenic disinfectant. She really wants to apologize, I swear. You know she's stubbornly proud her methods were too much, but she didn't mean it. Don't be mad, okay? There was no trace of concern in his urgent tone, no worry about potential scarring, the pain, the insecurity. Every word was a shield, an excuse built solely for her. I stared at him, at the face I'd loved for years yet now felt utterly foreign. Tears streamed down my cheeks. I'm not mad. I just regret ever getting together with you. He froze, opening his mouth to speak until his phone lit up. When he saw the name Queen Bee, Luna's nickname, he composed himself instantly. I need to step out for a minute. Rest well, I'll be right back. He hurried off, and on impulse, I followed. Through the crack in the fire escape door, I saw him sit beside Luna. Stop blaming yourself. She'll get over it, she always does. Luna punched him lightly. If she can't handle this, imagine how mad she'd be if she found out you only pursued her because you lost a bet with us? And we deliberately picked April Fool's Day for your confession. In that moment, something exploded in my ears, nothing but a loud buzz drowned out all other sounds. Jake clapped a hand over her mouth, glancing around nervously. Shoo. That was ages ago, bury it. My legs gave way, like all the strength had been drained from my body. The lingering doubts that had plagued me for years finally had answers. Why I'd always lost to Luna when it came to choices. Why Jake, who'd claimed to love me, always let her hurt me. I'd foolishly thought he valued his friendship above all, but never imagined every bit of his affection was a lie. Even the start of my salvation had been built on a prank. The truth was a cold, naked blade. In their eyes, I had never been Jake's girlfriend. I was the punchline to a long-running joke, a court jester there for their amusement. In that single, shattering moment, every last shred of my dignity was ripped away. I clamped a hand over my trembling lips. I had to leave, escape this suffocating falseness. I hailed a taxi to the hotel, grabbed my luggage, and raced to the high-speed rail station. I changed my ticket to the next train bound for headquarters. Before boarding, a text from Jake popped up. The doctor said you need observation, don't run off. Where are you? I'll come get you. Staring at his insincere concern, I laughed through my tears. I didn't reply. I blocked and deleted his number, along with all his friends. Jake. Luna. Your little April Fool's game? Consider me resigned. I'm not playing anymore. 10 minutes ticked by in the hospital room with no reply from Mia. A pang of anxiety, sharp and sudden, hit Jake. He remembered the faint, almost imperceptible rustle of fabric he'd heard near the stairwell earlier. He'd been about to investigate when Luna stopped him. A terrible suspicion had flickered to life in that moment, and he had forcibly smothered it. No. Mia was straightforward, she would have confronted him immediately if she'd heard anything. "Hey, Earth to Jake. Where is she? If she doesn't show soon, I'm not apologizing." Luna slung her arm around his neck. But Jake felt irritated, his train of thought interrupted. He pushed her away gently, masking his annoyance. "Cut it out. She won't be happy if she sees this." Luna scoffed. "Ugh, only you'd spoil her. Out of all our friends' girlfriends, she's the most sensitive, so high maintenance. Boring." There was a time he would have let such comments from the guys slide, even chuckled along in private. But hearing it from Luna now, in this context, grated on him. His frown deepened. "That's enough," he said, his tone leaving no room for argument. "She'll be here any minute. Check your attitude. This was your mistake, not some flaw in her. Be sincere when she arrives, no more frivolity. Her chin stitched up, girls care about their looks. She'll be devastated if it scars." Luna huffed, slumping onto the bed, resentment flicking in her eyes. "Typical you. It started as a bet, and you actually fell for her. She's so lucky. What even do you see in her?" Ake leaned against the window, gazing at the bright moon. The corners of his mouth lifted unconsciously. "You wouldn't get it. She's truly amazing. Her looks were the most basic entry on a long list of qualities that made her who she was. Her kindness ran deep. During their 3rd year together, she'd taken him to the orphanage where she'd spent a part of her difficult childhood. The kids swarmed her the second she walked in, begging for stories, presenting crafts like treasures, following her lead in games like she was their natural leader. The headmistress had told him Mia donated 20% of her salary to the orphanage every quarter since graduating, bringing supplies and hope to kids who'd felt as abandoned as she once had. She was emotional. She cried at movies, laughed uncontrollably at silly jokes, unable to explain why they were funny, and ranted at annoying characters on TV, admitting later she was taking the opportunity to vent about difficult colleagues or her boss. She was gentle yet strong. Once, they'd gotten into a road rage incident. A man had stormed out of his car, yelling at Mia for bad driving. Instead of fighting back or panicking, she'd let him vent, then talk to him calmly. Sometimes they'd encountered tough customers, but more often than not, her heart of tolerance and understanding won people over. Watching her interact with others always gave him a sense of calm. Falling for her hadn't been a choice, it had been inevitable. The memory lifted his spirits, filling him with guilt over today's mess. Jake sighed, checking his phone again. Weird. No reply for this long, could she have dash? His words trailed off as the hospital room door swung open. Assuming it was Mia, he smiled, ready to speak only to hear a nurse's voice. "Oh, you're still here? I thought you left." Jake froze. "Left? My girlfriend hasn't come back yet. Where would we go?" The nurse looked at him, confusion clear on her face. "But I saw her. She went out to the emergency stairwell right after you. She came back a little while later, settled her bill, and left. I assumed you knew." For a heartbeat, the world went silent for Jake, a deafening, hollow silence. All color drained from his face, replaced by a stony seriousness. "Checked out? How? Are you joking? She just woke up, she couldn't have left alone. You must have seen her." The nurse glanced at the medical chart on the empty bed, skeptical. "No mistake, it's Mia. Honestly, how do you not know your own girlfriend checked out? Did you two fight? She ran back crying earlier, you know." She grabbed the patient file and walked away. But Jake was anything but calm. Before he realized it, his legs went weak, cold sweat breaking out on his palms. His hands shook as he fumbled for his phone, dialing Mia's number. Once. Twice. 10 times. Each Call went straight to voicemail or rang out into empty air. A stubborn, desperate hope made him snatch Luna's phone and try again. The same result. That was the moment true, cold panic seized him by the throat. He opened their chat window, his thumbs flying over the screen as he typed out a frantic, rambling message. He hit send. A second later, a cold, automated prompt popped up, message not delivered. You are not friends with this user. The realization hit him with the force of a physical blow. Something had broken. Something fundamental had shifted beyond repair. He looked at Luna, her guilty eyes stirring up his worst fears. You saw her earlier, didn't you? Luna put on an innocent look, but she was ecstatic inside. Just like she'd done countless times before, she played dumb. I didn't know it was her. I thought it was someone in similar clothes hiding from someone. I swear, I didn't want you to mistake her, so I didn't tell you. I didn't mean T-dash. But this time, Jake didn't brush it off with a casual, be more careful next time. His eyes reddened instantly. We're ruined. She must have heard us. Ruined. He ran a hand through his hair, frantic. I told you never to. Bring that up outside. Why did you have to say it? Now she knows, she'll never forgive me. Luna patted his shoulder, feigning sympathy. Oh, come on. It's April Fool's Day. Just find her and say you saw her there, that you made up those things to prank her. You've pranked her 100 times, she never minds. She won't care about this little thing. But what should have reassured him only made him more uneasy. Memories flashed through his mind, Mia's repeated refusals last night, her plea to end things amicably. The sinking feeling in his chest grew stronger. He grabbed his coat, heading for the door. Luna pulled him back. Hey, where are you going? Jake's eyes glistened with tears. To find her. I have to explain. Luna scoffed, annoyed. Is it really that big of a deal? You're being so dash. Something in Jake finally snapped. The thought of the hurt, the betrayal in Mia's eyes sent a physical pang through his chest. The fear of losing her, truly, irrevocably losing her, was a cold, new terror gripping his heart. Yes. It is a big deal, he shouted, the words tearing from him. Listen to me. No more pranks on her. Ever. And not one more bad word about her, from you or anyone else. She is the woman I'm going to marry. If you consider yourself my friend, you will start treating her with the respect she deserves. Starting now. He wrenched his hand free from her grip and rushed out. Whenever Mia was upset and had nowhere to go, she'd work overtime at the office. He sped over, ignoring the security guard's protests, and raced up flights of stairs. Panting heavily, he burst into the office, grabbing someone at random, someone with a photo on their desk. Are you Mia's supervisor? Is she here right now? The person looked at him suspiciously. You're the boyfriend, right? The man said, recognition dawning mixed with awkward pity. Yeah. Mia accepted the headquarters transfer this morning. Pretty sure she's already gone. She, didn't tell you? The frantic, desperate energy that had propelled him there evaporated in an instant, leaving him hollow. Jake's legs buckled, and he swayed, catching himself against the wall at the last second. His hands trembled where they pressed against the cool surface. His eyes, red-rimmed and aching, held only a vast, bewildered emptiness. How? She never told me. Was it mandatory? The supervisor shook his head. No, she's been considering it for a week. She initially declined, but suddenly agreed at midnight last night. She even bought her ticket already. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't an April Fool's joke. I've already processed her transfer paperwork. I gave her today off to pack. The final piece of denial shattered. She had meant every word last night. She was done. She was walking away, and she had no intention of looking back. A broken sound escaped Jake as his legs gave out completely, and he slid down the wall to the floor. Hot, silent tears tracked through the grime on his face. He curled in on himself, forehead pressed to his knees, a raw, physical ache twisting in his chest. He'd arrogantly assumed Mia had no one but him to rely on. He thought she couldn't live without him. But now that she was gone, he realized he was the one who couldn't survive her absence. No. He couldn't let her go. He had to get her back, even if it meant abandoning everything here to follow her. He had to make things right. Jake booked the next high-speed train to her new city immediately. Before boarding, his phone rang. It was his friend. "Jake, where are you? Hurry to our usual spot. Luna's crying, she'll drink herself to death if you don't show. Come on, bros before hoes. She's just being a sore loser, you dash." Jake cut him off, the words bursting out, sharp and final. "Enough. I don't want to hear another word against her. Not one. Or consider us done." He took a shaky breath, the next words coming out cold and clear. "Luna? I'm done. I don't have the time or the interest. Her drama is not my problem anymore. You all want to baby her? Go ahead. But leave me out of it. I'm out." He hung up without hesitation, his mind fixated on one thing, winning Mia back. Since I'd arrived early, the headquarters dormitory wasn't ready yet. I'd have to stay in a hotel for a night. I'd just checked in when my branch manager called, relaying her conversation with Jake and subtly asking what had happened. I only said we'd broken up. Sensing my low mood, she didn't press further, just offered a few words of comfort before ending the call. I'd guessed Jake might come looking for me, but not this soon. I'd just returned to the hotel from the nearby clinic, where I'd changed the dressing on my face, when I spotted him at the entrance. He stood there, the very picture of rushed desperation, clothes rumpled, hair disheveled from travel. In his eyes, usually so composed, a storm of emotions churned. "Mia," his voice was hoarse. "Why didn't you tell me?" Watching his cautious demeanor, I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. "Because we're broken up. I had no reason to." I tried to walk around him, but he grabbed my wrist tightly. "I didn't agree. I won't accept it." He stumbled over his words. "I thought dash." I interrupted him. "You thought I was joking for April Fools? Or just throwing a tantrum? Either way, you've always seen me as helpless and easy to pacify. That's why you never cared about my feelings, isn't it?" His face froze. His lips parted and closed, panic and helplessness clouding his eyes. "No, I just..." For years, those three phrases I didn't mean, I didn't know, had been his go-to excuses. Whenever I was upset, he'd fob me off with vague words. Once, I thought it didn't matter as long as he cared about me. But now, knowing everything had been a lie, those excuses felt utterly perfunctory making. Our 6 years together seemed cheap and meaningless. I wrenched my wrist from his grasp, the movement final. "It's over, Jake." My voice was calm, devoid of the anger he might have expected. It was the calm of absolute emptiness. The second I learned how we really began, your thoughts, your feelings, your regrets, they all became irrelevant noise. The only fact you need to hold on to is this: we ended last night. His eyes glistened with tears. "I won't accept it. I can't lose you, Mia. It was 6 years ago, I fell in love with you a long time ago. Our feelings are real. You're the one who said it, a bad beginning doesn't have to mean a bad ending. What if all of it, the bet, the lies, was just some messed up way fate brought us together? Maybe this crooked path was the only one that led to you." I shook my head slowly, a sad, final gesture. "But my fate," I said, my voice quiet and certain, "doesn't involve spending it with someone whose legacy to me is wasted years, humiliation, and pain. Do you understand that? He froze in place, tears falling unexpectedly. I'd rarely seen him cry over the years. People say men's tears are a woman's weakness, but now, they left me cold. Perhaps they were just crocodile tears. For someone who tramples on others' feelings, tears are worthless. I turned and disappeared into the crowd. Early the next morning, the headquarters HR manager called. My dorm was ready. I could move in with just my luggage. I hurried over, eager to escape. Jake had stood outside the hotel all night. Despite repeated checks from security guards and the receptionist, he refused to book a room or leave. He just endured it, dozing against the wall when exhausted. It was still dim when I stepped out, and there he was. He looked utterly haggard, stubble covered his jaw. After just one night. He reminded me of the boy who'd waited outside my building all night after I rejected him, catching a cold to guilt, tripped me into staying with him at the hospital. Wrapped in his coat, shivering, he asked, "Mia, are you leaving?" I pushed my suitcase forward, ignoring him. He kept talking, desperate. "I've been thinking all night. I know. You're furious that I kept letting Luna get away with hurting you. It stops now. I had no boundaries. It was my fault, all of it. I'll cut ties. I'll keep my distance. Just, give me one more chance. I'm not asking you to forgive me. Just don't shut me out. Compel dash." Thud. His words cut off abruptly. Behind me, I heard him gasp in pain, followed by a security guard's concerned voice. "Whoa, you okay?" Through the reflections of passing cars, I saw he'd fallen. I glanced back. His left cheek was scraped, his lip swollen. Just like mine. "Does it hurt?" His eyes welled up, filled with hurt. But unlike before, I didn't rush to comfort him. I just smiled faintly. "Good. It should hurt. Every time you and Luna teamed up to prank me yesterday, the day before, all those years, hell. Hurt 100 times worse than this. Don't flatter yourself, Jake. It's not that you overstepped, you knew exactly what you were doing. You knew I was hurting, so you precisely timed your emotional appeals to string me along when I was on the verge of breaking down. You only regret losing me in this moment. Every other time, you enjoyed watching me suffer. Loved the thrill of me chasing you. People like you don't deserve a second chance. Goodbye." A ride-hailing car pulled up. I didn't look back, opening the door and telling the driver to go fast. The car roared away, his agonized cries fading from deafening to distant silence, at last. It was a deep, enveloping quiet I hadn't realized I craved. My new work was challenging and absorbing. I buried myself in it, spending long hours in the office poring over documents and case studies, expanding my world one page at a time. Settled into the dorm, I became something of a recluse. For a full month, our paths never crossed. But I heard things, in the way one does in a new place, through casual office remarks. Every Friday afternoon, like clockwork, he'd be there. Lingering outside the company gates, a ghost from a past life, hoping for a glimpse of someone who had already walked away. I still didn't enjoy cooking, but the company canteen served meals I actually looked forward to. The old fear of sleeping alone lingered, but the dorm's night guard provided a tangible sense of security. The company even organized self-defense workshops on team building days, arming us with practical skills. It turned out, many of the vulnerabilities I'd thought only a relationship could patch were just as effectively addressed by a change of scenery and a supportive environment. Had I made the move sooner, perhaps this sense of equilibrium would have found me earlier. By mid-autumn, my colleagues, worried I'd been staying cooped up in the dorm, invited me on a road trip to hike. That day, as we headed out, I spotted Jake unexpectedly. He emerged from an apartment complex across from the company. I recalled a casual comment from a former colleague, Jake had transferred to headquarters too. I'd been busy with work messages at the time and hadn't paid much attention. Our eyes met across the distance. The old, familiar flutter in my chest was absent, replaced by a calm so profound it was like looking at a photograph of a stranger. He looked at me, apology etched in his gaze. "Your face, is it healing?" I offered a polite, distant nod, already turning my attention away. Before a word could form, my colleague hooked her arm through mine. "Let's move. We've got road trip snacks to buy." And just like that, the moment was over. He might as well have been a passerby, his image dissolving from my thoughts the second I looked away. So when the company offered an overseas exchange program at the end of the year, I signed up without hesitation. After spending the holidays traveling the following year, I made the exchange location my permanent base, never returning to headquarters. Jake, who'd skipped going home for the holidays, brought groceries hoping to spend the break with me, waited until the food spoiled. All he found out was that I'd left for an unknown city to study. The second month of my overseas assignment, the day before April Fool's, a strange number called. "Mia, do you really hate seeing me that much? You left without even saying goodbye. Do you know I waited for you for 7 days?" His slurred voice cracked. "Why take away even the right to see you from afar? Today's our anniversary. Last year we promised this year we'd get married. I had everything ready, but you're gone." The voice on the line was thick with drink and tears. "You were always the understanding one, so patient. Why not give me that one chance? Why can't you believe I could change? Why did you have to leave? Like that?" A ragged sob escaped him. 6 years, Mia. 6 whole years. How do you expect me to just move on?" The sobbing stopped. After rustling sounds, a soft, elderly voice came on. "I'm sorry, dear. He's drunk. Insisted on calling you. I hope we didn't disturb you. Wish you all the best." A faint twinge of something crossed my heart, but it faded quickly. "Thank you, ma'am. Wish you good health. Too. Goodbye." I hung up. The call felt like a dream fading away without a trace days later. 3 years later, I returned to headquarters briefly. Several close colleagues stood at the entrance, chatting. When I approached, they broke into teasing smiles. "When did this happen? You kept it so quiet. Why tell us? Only now? Come on, are we even friends? I've been waiting to be your bridesmaid." I laughed helplessly. "That's why I'm back, to hand out invitations. None of you are allowed to miss it." They grinned, taking the crimson wedding invitations, chattering excitedly with questions I could barely keep up with. Then a familiar voice behind me silenced everyone. I turned and locked eyes with Jake. "You're getting married?" He stood there in his familiar work uniform, fresh from the office. I paused, then smiled and nodded. "Yes. Come to the wedding if you're free." He stood there a long time until my friends and I waved goodbye. "Is he good to you?" I didn't turn around, tilting my head to look at the bright moon. "Yes." A long, heavy silence stretched out, so complete I assumed he had finally walked away. Then, his voice reached me, roughened by emotion. "I wish you happiness." I turned then, offering him a final, peaceful smile. "Thank you," I said. "I wish the same for you." The moon, constant and bright, would always be there. And my own happiness, it seemed, had arrived right on time. The end. Have you enjoyed? Tell us about your experience in comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe Bunny Bookery Tales for new updates.